So now that we've gotten Tiantian Xiangqi installed, we're going to work through some of the initial profile setup steps that we haven't completed yet. And so we're going to click on this far right icon on the bottom here. And we're actually going to go through this systematically over several videos. And I'm going to start at the top and we'll work our way down. At the top here, we have our initial profile information. And so here's our username. In this case, it's the same name that was from WeChat, our WeChat ID, our region, which in this case is overseas. And then lastly, kind of an in-app social credit score. This button takes us to the WeChat Mini-Program, which I mentioned earlier in a previous video when we were installing WeChat. Inside of the Game Center, you can access the Mini-Program and play Tiantian Xiangqi inside of WeChat. So we're not going to be messing around with that right now. The app is pretty much identical to the regular app that we downloaded. However, it has some missing features like the analysis features. So for the most part, we're going to stay in the full featured program. Now, if we click here, we'll get some additional profile information, and this is what we're going to be working through today. First off, we have our profile picture. This doesn't actually let us do anything. What I found is, because this is linked to WeChat, if you want to update this profile picture, you can go into your WeChat account and change that, and it'll update here as well. If you click on your picture, it's going to take you to one of the in-app themes section, and we can see that there's different frames that can be either earned or purchased. For now, we're just going to leave it at the basic frame because none of these others are currently unlocked. So let's go back. The next item here is a little badge. Now, some badges I think can be earned and others can be unlocked in various ways. The only one that I have experience with, and we're going to go through that in this tutorial, is the real name verification. That ends up being a little blue icon that gets pasted right here over your profile picture. These little badges, I've seen some of the higher level players have what I think is a master's level badge on there. When you first install the app and are looking around, there's not much you can do. Next is your username or your display name. So you can change this to whatever you want. It doesn't really matter as long as it is limited to 7 Chinese characters or 10 English characters. I'm going to cancel. The next section is your region. So if you select what region you're from, the only thing that is split out into individual regions are Chinese provinces. And then at the very bottom, then you get the overseas region, which is sort of the catch-all for anybody not in mainland China. So next up, we have 3 sections here. The first is the real name verification. And we're going to be going through this and actually completing the process so that you can see how that works. It's promoted by the app developers as an anti-cheating device. But users are encouraged to complete real name verification because without it, you can only go so far in the app. You can only increase your rankings to level 8, I think. And beyond that, you're going to be required to complete the real name verification. Similarly, and then the next section is the master level verification. So if you have a certificate saying what level you are, maybe you competed at a tournament, when you complete your real name verification, you can send that in and that will get included in here as well. And then lastly, there's a setting here for whether you want to use your real name or you want to use a nickname. Currently, because this account does not have real name verification completed, we cannot select the use your real name option. So the only option it has is to use the nickname. So selecting real name gives us an error. So we'll go back and look at the last 2 items before we conclude. And then in the next video, we're going to spend the whole video doing the real name verification for your profile. The last 2 items here are for inputting your mobile phone. If you do not live in mainland China or do not have a Chinese phone number, then this form will not work for you. It's not supported. So don't bother with that. You're just going to have to rely on your account being linked to your WeChat account. Now, if you think, oh, I'll just go get a Chinese phone number that I can use to complete this profile and get a phone number linked to this app, unfortunately, I don't think that will work because the phone number that you use with your real name verification needs to match the phone number here. And then lastly, you can put in an address. And honestly, it's a little unclear what this address is because you can only put in 7 Chinese characters or 10 English characters. So for the most part, you certainly can't put in a full mailing address. And in my other account, I just put in a few Chinese characters, just saying my country, state, and town. In our next video, we're going to cover the real name verification, which is this right here. There's some detailed instructions, and the instructions are different for whether you are in mainland China or whether you are in the overseas region, meaning everybody else. And for the purposes of our tutorial, I'm assuming that you're in the overseas region, so we're going to be walking through that form.